Welcome to the third stage talk on the last day of Hyderabad Literary Festival. And I sincerely hope all of you have been having a really good time. हैदराबाद कई कवियों का घर रहा है और इनमें से कुछ ने या कई ने, जैसे आप माने, सामाजिक न्याय के ऊपर अपनी लेखन किया है। उनकी लेखन से प्रेरित होकर आज के स्टेज टॉक में हरिणी राव, यूनुस लसानिया और सैकत बासु आप सबके साथ वार्तालाप करेंगे। They are presenting the stage talk titled Hyderabadi Inqilab. Many of you would have read his reports and articles written by him, and this I'm talking of Yunus Lasania, a really conscientious and prolific writer. He has worked for Mint, The Hindu, The New Indian Express, and Siyasat. Harini ko kaun nahi janta? She is a well-known Hindustani singer, classical singer, vocal artist, and an educator. इन दोनों के साथ हैं सैकत बासु, and he also is an artist, a poet, and a music composer. Please welcome Harini Rao, Yunus Lasania, and Saikat Basu.
About Hyderabadi poets in the way that we will today. And I know some of you might be wondering why we chose the poets we chose to talk about and whose poetry Harini is going to recite. So, Mahalaka Bai Chanda and Makhdoom Mohyuddin are the two poets that we've chosen for today. And some of you who are familiar with these names might be wondering why Mahalaka Bai Chanda, especially given that she doesn't really fall under the ambit of revolution in the canonical sense. But I believe how we live our lives defying odds is also often considered to be a revolutionary life. And Mahalaka Bai Chanda's life, her very existence, and how she handled herself as a woman during the time she grew up in the 18th and 19th centuries is actually what makes her story quite revolutionary in itself. We will, of course, I will expand more about this. And yeah.
So, thank you, Yunus. When I started off on this project, I was looking for women poets of lore who wrote on social justice and social change. But interestingly, it was only Mahalaka Bai Chanda that I found. And then we thought that how can we not include Makhdoom Mohyuddin when we speak about social change? And that's why these two great poets were chosen. And with that, and also how could I not choose Yunus to speak about historical, give us insights on history and on these legendary poets. So thank you, Yunus.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to, recite Faiz and finish this, but I think the idea was to actually look at poets from Hyderabad. Also, for those of you who don't know, Faiz actually kind of looked up to Makhdoom also, so that is one of the reasons why we also chose Makhdoom.
Yeah.
And some of you who are familiar with my work, especially on the Telangana armed struggle, there are a lot of reasons why I love Makhdoom, not just because of the armed struggle, but Makhdoom Mohyuddin is somebody whose poetry stemmed from his revolution. So we will talk more about that, and I won't bore you anymore with this, because I want you to listen to Harini first. So she will explain why we chose the poem that she chose today.
So the first poem that we are going to be presenting is Gul ke hone ki tawakko pe jiye baithi hai. This has been set to tune by my friend Saikat Basu, and we'll start. Gul ke hone ki tawakko pe jiye बैठी है, गुल के होने की तवक्को पे जिए बैठी है, हर कलेजा को मुट्ठी में लिए बैठी पे। कभी सयाद का खटका है, कभी खौफे खिज़ां, कभी सयाद का खटका है, कभी खौफे खिज़ां, बुलबुल अब जान हथेली पे लिए बैठी है, बुलबुल अब जान हथेली पे लिए बैठी है, गुल के होने की तवक्को पे। तीरो शमशीर से बढ़कर है तेरी तिरछी निगाह, तीरो शमशीर से बढ़कर, 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 तीरो शमशीर से बढ़कर, तीरो शमशीर, शमशीर, तीरो शमशीर से बढ़कर है तेरी तिरछी निगाह, सैकड़ों आशिकों का खून किए बैठी, सैकड़ों आशिकों का खून किए बैठी है, गुल के होने की तवक्को पे जिए बैठी है, गुल के होने की तवक्को पे। Thank you.
That was lovely. Question?
So, what was Mahalakhabai's background, Yunus?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the most important things about Hyderabad history is that if you ever give a cursory glance reading in general, you'll realize that there are barely any women mentioned, especially under the Nizams. I don't know if you are all aware of this. It's very difficult to actually find prominent women, and that's also because society was very patriarchal. So Mahalakhabbai Chanda lived between the 18th and 19th centuries as a powerful courtesan / poet of her time, primarily functioning between Hyderabad's second and third Nizams. And this was the time, around the time when the British were, trying to dig their heels in Hyderabad. So you also had powerful, you had the British, you had the Nizams, you had prime ministers, you had a lot of people. The interesting thing is that this woman stands out because she pretty much was a contemporary of everybody, and they were all very much interested in her and her poetry. And she was also she was very interesting for me, especially because she was a very spiritually Shia Muslim woman who also praised Imam Ali. For those of you who don't know, Shia Muslims also equally, the Prophet Muhammad's son-in-law and cousin Imam Ali is also very important for Shia Muslims as well. So she also, refers to him in most of her writings. But more importantly, in the 224 years of the Nizam's history, by the way, Hyderabad was founded not by the Nizams. The Nizams are not there for the first 167 years. They come much, much later. Not the place to discuss right now, later if you want to talk to me. But basically, the 224 years of Nizam history, there are very few women prominently mentioned, and I would say three actually, of whom two are of royal lineage. And well, I don't know if I should apologize in advance. Actually, I won't. But Mahalakabai, not being of any royal lineage, technically, she led a very remarkable life because here in Hyderabad, we have this habit of glorifying even mediocrity as great if they belong to royal lineages. So for me, she was very, very important because she was not of any royal lineage. And that is why also we chose her for today. So next, Harini will also explain why we chose the next two
The
poems.
next one is special for more than one reason. It really talks about Mahalakabai Chanda's poetic prowess, obviously. It's also been tuned by my late guru, Srimati Swati Phadke, so I will present this. This was done for Sutradhar's production on Mahalakabai Chanda, in fact, this song. आने का मुंतज़र तेरे बेदार ही रहा, आने का मुंतज़र तेरे बेदार ही रहा, खटका हर एक पाका गिरा बार ही रहा, खटका हर एक पाका गिरा बार ही रहा, आने का मुंतज़र तेरे बेदार ही रहा, आने का मुंतज़र तेरे। सागर मुझे कभी न दिया तूने एक बार, सागर मुझे कभी न दिया तूने एक बार, हमराह नित रकीब के सरजार ही रहा, हमराह नित रकीब के सरजार ही रहा, खटका हर एक पाका गिरा बार ही रहा, आने का मुंतज़र तेरे। वादा खिलाफियों पे तुम्हारे तो है सनम, वादा खिलाफियों पे तुम्हारे तो है सनम, जिस वक्त देखा माह को नाचार ही रहा, जिस वक्त देखा माह को नाचार ही रहा, नाचार ही रहा, आने का मुंतज़र तेरे। ये रिश्ता वो है चंदा के इश्क में साबित कदम है जो कोई चंदा के इश्क में, चंदा के इश्क में सफ में वो इश्क बाजों के सालार ही रहा, सफ में वो इश्क बाजों के सालार ही रहा, खटका हर एक पाका मेरा बार ही रहा, आने का मुंतज़र तेरे बेदार ही रहा, आने का मुंतज़र तेरे। Thank you.
That's very nice, thank you. So yeah. So, I guess this is not talked about often, but one of the things that makes Mahalakabai Chanda very special in Hyderabad also is because she challenged existing notions of women's roles in Islamic society back then. I'm talking about the late 1700s, right? So her very existence itself was something that was very, very crucial to our understanding of how politics worked back then. More importantly, the background is also something that is of importance here. She was born in or around 1768. Her mother, from what we know, settled in Hyderabad after marrying a nobleman and apparently gave birth to her very late, at around the age of 50. There's no information about the father, and how she ends up becoming what she was is that her half-sister, her eldest half-sister named Mehtab Kanwar Bai, she's also a courtesan, gets married to one of the ex-prime ministers of Hyderabad, Ruknud-Dawla. So that is how she enters a noble house, and she has access to a lot of means. That's how Mahalakabai Chanda's mother gives her eldest daughter Mahalakabai Chanda to raise. That's how Chanda ends up growing in a fairly privileged house, and that's how she grows up like her sister as a courtesan. She gets trained in dancing and writing, and she becomes, I guess you could say, an artist of every kind. And so that's why, because of her prolific nature also, is how she ends up becoming this very sought after personality. She was apparently very close to the second Nizam also, who took her, who really liked her for what she was. I'm not sure if some of you know this, because what is today Osmania University, the land around OU or FLU is what she used to actually own. There is the Mahalakabai Chanda stepwell in FLU. So that is one thing. There is an Ashur Khana that she built. There is a house manor that she built where she also trained women like her, where she trained women to be like herself. So yeah, so she did all of that. And generally speaking as well, one of the most important things about Mahalakabai Chanda's life also is that you have prime ministers who were actually interested in her. You also had, apart from the second Nizam, the third Nizam also, it is all a little bit fluid in that sense. The interesting part for me always is how we look at history, right? So you have historians who absolutely deny the existence of any kind of sexuality. They just say that she was not a tawaf, she was only a singer or a dancer. But I think if you actually go through her poetry, you will very easily find out that nothing is that black and white with her. You can see that, because she herself writes, that the only man in her life, basically saying that Imam Ali is the only male personality in her life that she can trust. She can't really trust the other men around her all the time. Very highly political woman is what I would say. That's the reason we chose her, because her existence itself was kind of an antithesis to Hyderabadi society. You don't really have women out there in the 17 or 1800s at all. Like, if you read about Hyderabad history, you'll really wonder, like, where are the women? Like, it's all written by mostly men. Like, there's barely any historical sources written by women. Like, it's all just men only everywhere, right? Of course, we have this Indian habit of glorifying mothers and old women, saying that yeah, yeah, bahut achhe hai, like they helped me as a child, but they don't. You don't actually find like anybody doing anything apart from that. So that's why Mahalakha Bai Chanda is very very special in a lot of ways. And yeah, so
She was also the first one to have her entire divan published.
actually
right?
yes, there's only one more person who was contesting for the title, but I think Mahalakha Bai Chanda wins. She had her entire work published at that point of time, which I think. Yeah, I mean, if you look at history, people just pass it off like, oh yeah, another female Urdu poet, but no one actually thinks about the fact that she had her entire work commissioned eventually. I think the word translates to Moon Chronicles, because Chanda is her name. So yeah, please.
What was it called?
Uska exact?
Lakha.
Mahanama.
Mahanama.
Mahanama, that's the name. Yeah, that's what it's called. So yeah, we have one more poem by Mahalakha Bai Chanda, and then we move on to Maghdum. Yes, Harini?
Yes. In fact, in this one, you'll also see her devoutness.
Yeah, you see her praising Imam Ali, as we all mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so in this one is called
Haider.
Haider-e-Karrar, yes.
चश्मे नजर शबनम में रखा, चश्मे नजर शबनम में अपने यार से मतलब ना गुल से है गरज तेरे, ना है गुलजार से मतलब। ना समझा हमको तूने यार ऐसे जाफिशानी पे, ना समझा हमको तूने यार ऐसे जाफिशानी पे, भला पावेंगे है नादा, भला पावेंगे है नादा किसी होशियार से मतलब। रखा चश्मे नजर शबनम में, रखा चश्मे नजर शबनम में अपने यार से मतलब। ना गुल से है गरज तेरे, ना है गुलजार से मतलब। ना चंदा को तमा जन्नत की, ना चंदा को, चंदा को तमा जन्नत की, ना खौफे जहन्नम है, ना चंदा को तमा जन्नत की, न खौफे जहन्नम है। रहे हैं दो जहां में, रहे हैं दो जहां में हैदर करार
Okay, so now we move on to Makhdoom, and I think people in Hyderabad especially forget. I'm just generally saying that when we read history, we talk about kings and queens and royalty, but we actually tend to forget that life was not actually very rosy in the erstwhile Hyderabad state, especially if you were living outside of the city and if you were not a landlord or belonging to a landlord family, right? For those of you who don't know, Telangana had a massive peasant rebellion, the only successful one in the entire country's history, I believe. And 60% of our state was controlled by landlords, and it is that feudalism that Makhdoom Mohyuddin actually grew up watching. So his poetry actually was fueled quite rightly by what he saw as a child. He didn't. He grew up in Andol of Medak district, as unlike what most people think, he was born in Hyderabad, but he was not. Very interestingly, his birth also coincided with the 1908 protest by workers in Bombay who were angry with the savage imprisonment of Tilak by the British. So coincidentally. More importantly, Makhdoom was one of the earliest people in Hyderabad who grew up organizing trade unions, which is something very unthinkable, in a state run by a monarchy under the imperial British. So that was quite a big thing that he did, especially under a monarchy. Yeah, so the first poem that Harini is going to sing is Phir Chidi Raat. And let's start. And we'll talk more about him as we go.
How can we not sing Phir Chidi Raat while we talk about Makhdoom? And also the previous poem that we sang again was composed by Shaikhot Basu, the tune. Thank you very much.
फिर छिड़ी रात बात फूलों की, फिर छिड़ी रात बात फूलों की, रात है या बारात फूलों की, रात है या बारात फूलों की, फिर छिड़ी रात बात फूलों की। आपका साथ साथ फूलों का, आपका साथ साथ फूलों का, आपकी बात बात फूलों की, आपकी बात बात फूलों की, फिर छिड़ी रात बात फूलों की। ये महकती हुई गजल मखदूम, ये महकती हुई गजल मखदूम, जैसे सहरा में रात फूलों की, जैसे सहरा में रात फूलों की, फिर छिड़ी रात बात फूलों की।
Okay. Thank you so much. So before we have three more poems for before we end, and since I want to keep time, I'll keep this little brief. So I don't know if you all know this, but in Abbots, exactly opposite to Grand Hotel, is a small lane, which is something called Reddy Hostel. Reddy Hostel, I know, it's named after the former Kotwal of Hyderabad, Raja Ram Bahadur Venkatram Reddy. I don't know, some people joke saying that it was a hostel built for poor Reddy boys, very oxymoron, I know. But it was, I believe, built for students from the districts. But that is the birthplace of something called the Comrades Association of Hyderabad. That was the frontal organization of the CPI, of which Makhdoom Mohiuddin was also a founding member. I guess right now with the MIM in the old city, it's almost inconceivable that you'd think that you'd have communists living anywhere in Hyderabad in the old city. But at that point of time, the CPI was a force to reckon with at that point of time. And Makhdoom's life is something of a very interesting trajectory, because this is a man who grew up in the 1920s and 30s. In the 1930s, he, I believe, finished reading a lot of classical works. He ended up also working initially apparently he would write letters for a Nawab who wanted to write to his English girlfriend. He was doing that also for a while before he became what he was. Makhdoom did a lot of things. He was known to be a very jovial person as well, and but the important part is that he also, along with others, was part of a very small group of people who was not on the with the on the Muslim right or the Hindu right. He was part of the small group of people who were in sync with global progressive movements. So they were actually very much in sync with what was happening in Russia or outside parts of the world, and that's what led him to go on the path that he was. And it was inconceivable that somebody who had a government job as a teacher in City College would write against the government eventually. I think Haveli is one of his earliest works, which talks about the kind of feudal lives that existed in Hyderabad, where basically beyond that you see only poor people living. The word for bonded slavery here is vetti chakri, right, in Telugu. That's what it was. You had generational slavery in Telangana as well, which I think a lot of people don't want to talk about. But so that's a little bit. We'll talk more about Makhdoom, but now moving on to the third and most interesting poem that I actually really like. Harini will also tell why we chose this poem. Bhagmati.
No, before.
Sorry.
Bhagmati is
Oh, so sorry. Yes.
Ishq
Ishq ke Sholay ko, sorry, yeah.
Yes. इश्क के शोले को भड़काओ कि कुछ रात कटे. This is again set to tune by Shoaib Kaur.
इश्क के शोले को भड़काओ कि कुछ रात कटे. इश्क के शोले को भड़काओ कि कुछ रात कटे. दिल के अंगारों को दहकाओ कि कुछ रात कटे. इश्क के शोले को हिजर में मिलने शबे माह के गम आए हैं. हिजर में मिलने शबे माह के गम आए हैं. चारा साजों को भी बुलवाओ के कुछ रात कटे. चारा साजों को भी बुलवाओ के कुछ रात कटे. रात कटे. इश्क के शोले को भड़काओ कुछ रात कटे.
Thank you. And yes, I want to talk about Bhagmati. This is because the way this poem has been written, the storytelling in it is very, very similar to Mujhse Pehli Si Mohabbat by Faiz. So if you all know Mujhse Pehli Si, you'll also observe how the poem is flowing exactly the way it is. So I have a theory that I feel like Faiz admired him so much, admired Makhdoom so much that maybe he wrote it like Bhagmati, wrote Mujhse Pehli Si a lot like Bhagmati. So I'm going to say. And this one is also composed by my late guru, Shrimati Swati Phadke ji.
प्यार से आँख भराती है कमल खिलते हैं. प्यार से आँख भराती है कमल खिलते हैं. जब कभी लब पे तेरा नाम वफा आता है. जब कभी लब पे तेरा नाम वफा आता है. प्यार से आँख भराती है कमल खिलते हैं. दश्त की रात में बारात यहीं से निकली. दश्त की रात में बारात यहीं से निकली. राग की रंग की बरसात यहीं से निकली. इंकलाबात की हर बात यहीं से निकली. इंकलाबात की हर बात यहीं से निकली. गुनगुनाती हुई हर रात यहीं से निकली. प्यार से आँख भराती है कमल खिलते हैं. प्यार से आँख भराती है कमल खिलते हैं. धन की घन घोर घटाएं हैं नहुन के बादल. सोने चांदी के गली कूचे नहीरों के महल. धन की घन घोर घटाएं हैं नहुन के बादल. सोने चांदी के गली कूचे नहीरों के महल. आज भी जिस्म के अंबार हैं बाजारों में. आज भी जिस्म के अंबार हैं बाजारों में. ख्वाजाए शहर है यूसुफ के खरीदारों में. शहर बाकी है मोहब्बत के निशान बाकी है. शहर बाकी है मोहब्बत के निशान बाकी है. दिलबरी बाकी है दिलदार जहाँ बाकी है. दिलबरी बाकी है दिलदार जहाँ बाकी है. सर फहरिस्त निगाराए जहाँ बाकी है. प्यार से आँख भराती है, कमल खिलते हैं।
So we are hot on time. Yeah. So yeah, we have one last one. We have 5 minutes.
We're out of time, then we should take questions.
Jange
There's
Azadi.
also Jange Azadi though.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you say?
around 1945, during the time when I think there was a meeting in Bombay of a lot of CPI members, and yeah, see, since we don't have time, I'll add one last thing. We have this tendency in Hyderabad to segregate Makhdoom Mohiuddin, the poet, from Makhdoom Mohiuddin, the CPI leader, and this is something that Raj Bahadur Gaur, who was also one of the leaders of the armed struggle, wrote something on the same lines that it had become a fashion among people to try to segregate Makhdoom from his revolutions, and well, I guess we won't let that happen. So please remember that his poetry comes from his politics. Yes, I will. So yeah.
Yes, so I've lost internet. So. Yes. Yeah, I'm changing. This is also a lot like Faiz' Hum Dekhenge. I don't know, I keep drawing these similarities.
I mean, so there's a whole
Maybe
story
the
about
theme
how
is,
one
yeah.
day someone invited Faiz to Hyderabad and he apparently said, I'm not interested, until someone told him Makhdoom is also coming. Then he readily agreed to come, it seems. So that also, there are, and things like that. So yeah.
ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी, आज़ादी के परचम के तले। ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी, ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी, आज़ादी के परचम के तले। ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी। हम हिंद के रहने वालों की, महकूमों की, मजबूरों की, हम हिंद के रहने वालों की, महकूमों की, मजबूरों की, आज़ादी के मत वालों की, आज़ादी के मत वालों की, तहखानों की, मजदूरों की। ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी, आज़ादी के परचम के तले। ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी। सारा संसार हमारा है, पूरब पश्चिम उत्तर दक्षिण। सारा संसार हमारा है, पूरब पश्चिम उत्तर दक्षिण। हम अफरंगी, हम अमरीकी, हम चीनी जाबाज़ाने वतन। हम सुर्ख सिपाही जुल्म शिकन, आहन पैकर फौलाद बदन। हम सुर्ख सिपाही जुल्म शिकन, आहन पैकर फौलाद बदन। ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी, आज़ादी के परचम के तले। ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी। वो जंग ही क्या, वो अमन ही क्या, दुश्मन जिसमें ताराज न हो। वो जंग ही क्या, वो अमन ही क्या, दुश्मन जिसमें ताराज न हो। वो दुनिया क्या दुनिया होगी, जिस दुनिया में स्वराज न हो। वो आज़ादी क्या आज़ादी, मजदूर का जिसमें राज न हो। वो आज़ादी क्या आज़ादी, मजदूर का जिसमें राज न हो। ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी, आज़ादी के परचम के तले। ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी। लो सुर्ख सवेरा आता है आज़ादी का, आज़ादी का। गुलनार तराना गाता है आज़ादी का, आज़ादी का। देखो परचम लहराता है आज़ादी परचम के तले ये जंग है जंगे आज़ादी
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Yunus, Harini, and Saikat, for reintroducing the social fabric of Hyderabad through the works of Maktoum and
Khabai Chanda.
Mahalaka Bajain. And it was interesting the way you wove the whole story, and she sang, and of course the music support was excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.